Hello, everyone. My name is Corey Thornton, Senior Editor at Open Minds. Welcome to today's Circle Executive Roundtable, New Developments in Digital Marketing for Healthcare Organizations. Today's roundtable features Rob Hickernell, Executive Vice President for Open Minds. Unfortunately, Nicole Garris couldn't be here today. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping reminders. Your audio will be muted for today's briefing. However, if you have any questions at all, we encourage you to submit those in the question box on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. And finally, the slides and the recording from today's roundtable will be archived and available for Open Minds Elite members on the Open Minds website starting tomorrow. And with that, here's Rob.
Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Rob Hickernell, Executive Vice President at Open Minds. I work on a lot of different projects here at Open Minds, and one of the consistent themes or threads to most of the projects I work on with our partners and our clients and our members is marketing, and in particular, digital marketing. So I came to Open Minds, been here about 5 years. I came to Open Minds from AOL, and I ran the search business for AOL. So I've got a lot of background experience in digital marketing, from email marketing to social media, search engine optimization, search engine marketing. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, basically the only thing that's constant is change. And one of the reasons why I love what I do so much and talking to people about different digital marketing tactics and channels is that it changes all the time. And you really got to keep on top of things. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me knowledgeable in the market, in the field. As healthcare executives, as we're doing our marketing, there's a lot in particular in this world that is changing all of the time. And we're going to walk through a few of those areas today. So I've got hopefully about 45 minutes, 45 to 50, something like that. Then questions at the end. But I'm really hoping that you guys, kind of get a flavor for some of the things that are out there, some of the things you should be paying attention to, because it does have an impact on our marketing and on our businesses. So I really appreciate you guys joining today, and let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to do some background, some objectives. I'll give a real brief overview of digital marketing, how it's progressed and moved throughout the years. And then we're going to look at 5 specific areas of new developments. And this is all within the last 6 to 8 months or so. We're going to look at artificial intelligence and its impact on digital marketing. We're going to look at privacy and HIPAA concerns, cookies. We're going to go over cookies and kind of what all of that means and how things are changing as it relates to cookies and tracking. We're going to talk about first-party data, and we'll define what that is. And then we're going to close on cybersecurity. And cybersecurity is not often tied together with marketing, but I'm going to make a case to tie them together so that as marketers, we're all aware of some things happening in the cybersecurity world. So a little bit of just a background. Change is happening all the time, as I mentioned. Google and Bing are updating their algorithms on a daily basis in search. Social media organizations doing the same thing. There's always a test. They're always running tests. They're always testing different, whether it's UI, whether it's different signals to learn from, whether it's different ways to show you content. That's always changing. So if you and your coworker are looking at a Google search results page for the same search query, there's a really good chance that you're not looking at the exact same page. They're always running something. They're always looking to tweak different things. So you really have to stay on top of a lot of the different things that they're all doing. Privacy is changing. Security is changing. There's just so much going on out there in the world. And if you're not paying attention, it will cost opportunity. opportunities, missed opportunities, wasted investment, wasted marketing dollars, and loss of competitive edge. So that's what's so important about all of this, is really just to understand what's happening and how it might impact your business. So we're going to take a look at several of these and with the specific backdrop of healthcare, and we're gonna dive into these as we go. I want everybody to come out of here understanding the recent changes and updates. I want to examine how these updates to privacy and cybersecurity impact specifically the healthcare industry, and want to look at future technologies. And some of it's not even future anymore. So AI is now not so future anymore, and how that impacts you and what people are using it for in marketing, and to give you guys some ideas of things to think about. So, but first, let's just back up for a moment and just do a little digital overview of digital marketing here. So, going back really in the early 2000s, digital marketing started to be very separate from traditional marketing or offline marketing, or print and advertising, print marketing. Emergence of websites, online advertising, social media, search engines, mobile. What a huge driver that was back in 2007 or 8 when the iPhone came out. So that was a big moment there. Data-driven marketing, with all of this that preceded all of these various pieces in the 2000s. Now there's much more data out there to make marketing decisions on. Moved into influencer marketing, TikTok, Instagram, telehealth in the 2020s with COVID. And this chart that I pulled off of the web here was produced in 2020. So off to the side here, I haven't found another chart quite like this one, but artificial intelligence is, you would put a mark on 2021. November of 2021 is when ChatGPT came out into the zeitgeist, into the popular culture. ChatGPT had been around for a while before that, under different names, but really everybody started paying attention to it then, and that is the shockwave now going forward, is artificial intelligence. It's also interesting to take a look at innovation adoption curves, because a lot of what spans this timeline is adoption of some of the early, the early technologies in digital marketing. So you're always, for any product, any technology, anything coming out, it doesn't even have to be technology. It could be, the latest, I don't know, microwave popcorn brand to come out, but you're always going to have some early enthusiasts, innovators that are always trying new things. Visionaries, a little bit, wider spread, but still not out to everybody yet. You're gonna have the early majority, you're gonna have the late majority, and then you're gonna have skeptics and laggards at the end of adopting really anything that's new. And so you could look at this curve as it relates to technology and digital marketing. With search engine use, has this exact same curve, right? We're now in the laggards phase for search engines. We're in the laggards phase for social media. We're in the laggards phase for mobile phones, and I would guess that we're now in the early majority for AI, but it only took a very short amount of time to get there. So generative AI and its adoption has been taken off like wildfire. So year one, which is actually, this is showing it as 2022, just took off like a rocket ship. And in years 1, 2, and 3, had already outpaced the adoption of mobile phone use, tablets, smartphones, in its year 1, 2, and 3. So ChatGPT just took off like wildfire in that adoption curve, and now has over 200 million monthly active users. Updates itself every, I don't know, 3 months. There's a new version coming out that's infinitely better than the last version, and that will continue to happen. So AI is the big new thing. AI adoption is has been dramatically faster than a lot of other technologies, and pretty much almost threw this adoption curve out the window because it went to early majority so fast. Digital marketing platforms, again, as a kind of an overview, there are a million of them out there. You could call anything any platform that's out there that your brand can have a presence. You could call it a digital marketing platform. Obviously, some of these are bigger than others on here, but just a an ecosystem view of what's out there, how many different things are out there. And it all has an impact on our marketing, whether we're marketing in that channel or not. Your users may be in a lot of these channels. They may be talking about your brand. They might be good or bad, but you need to be aware that all of these platforms are out there. When I was doing some research earlier in the year for another presentation on digital marketing, I was doing some research on, just statistics in healthcare related to digital marketing. And the thing that stood out to me was the number of statistics that I saw that had the number 7 in them. And I thought, wow, I could come up with a whole, themed slide here. So I'm calling this the Magic Sevens. These are all web statistics for healthcare providers, and the number 7 is in them. So 77% of consumers are starting their journey with a search engine. 7% of all daily searches on Google are health related. So people are either they're calling up Dr. Google to look at their to come up with some sort of a clue of why they're feeling how they're feeling, or they're looking for their doctor's recommendation. They're looking for a phone number. They're looking for providers in their area. So 70,000 healthcare searches are conducted every minute. 71% of consumers will look for a new provider if their website is lacking information. So that would be, the importance of the website, search engine optimization. If your phone number is not there, your address is not there. If you don't have certain tools like an online appointment booker, they're going to be looking for somewhere else to go. 79% of consumers look for social media for health-related questions. So they're asking their friends, they're getting recommendations. 74% of consumers consider online reviews extremely or very important. And 72% of consumers leave positive reviews for their healthcare providers. That one is a bit surprising to me, because most of the times you hear, well, people more likely leave negative comments and reviews, but this one is saying that positive reviews are left 72% of the time. So that's a good thing for all of us. And I like to include this slide in my introduction because this is about a year old now that I put this in, and I always like to reflect back on kind of what's happened. So AI is here to stay. Okay, yes, it's not going anywhere. It's going to be regulated. It's already started. Lots of industry self-regulation, lots of different global governments taking a look at different things to make sure that it's used responsibly. So it's only going to get hopefully better, more intuitive, and help us more, not take over, but help us in all of the areas that we need help. Mobile phones, less of a phone, more of a computer. So it's really your computer in your pocket, and that's where most transactions will occur. And I think it continues to go in that direction. Privacy will continue. Third-party data is restricted. That's happening. First-party data is critical, and we'll talk about that today. Phishing, smishing, and scams will grow. It's growing all the time. I get so many calls on my phone, on my mobile phone, text messages, email messages. So many different scams are out there. So we all have to be very diligent. And we have to make sure, we'll talk about this in cybersecurity as well. We have to make sure that as marketers, people are going to be looking at our emails that we're sending out and wondering, is that a scam? Is that too good to be true? Is that, it doesn't look right. That logo looks a little fuzzy. That might not be authentic. So these are things that people are thinking, because there's so much of this that's out there that even legitimate marketing is sometimes called into question. Social networks will open up, allow for data and content to flow between networks. Threads, which is a competitor to Twitter/X that's owned by Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. They have an open social network, meaning that you could take your data and import it into other social networks. So you could take your friends, your contacts with you to different social networks. So that is a new thing it's not widespread yet, but I think it's going to come. Digital payment processing, Venmo, Stripe, Square, they're everywhere. QR codes to Venmo. I was at the Open Minds Executive Leadership Retreat. The keynotes last month, the keynote speaker talking about leadership in the Civil War was selling a book. I didn't have any cash, but I had my phone. He had a Venmo. He had a QR code. Easy peasy. Bought the book right there, 20 bucks. Digital payment processing. Digital streaming TV and video services will expand, which will open up more localized ad targeting for local providers. On connected TVs, if any of you have YouTube TV, Hulu, or a lot of other digital streaming based TV services, these are becoming more and more prevalent. You can see very short 15-second very professionally done commercials now for much smaller, much more local targeted providers and advertisers than ever before. And the quality of those videos and the quality of those advertisements are so much better than if you go back 20 years ago on cable TV and you'd get a local car dealer commercial, right? These are much better, much higher quality done, and so a lot of that is done now on these digital streaming platforms. And then more online purchase data will mean more digital marketing targeting options for first-party data, which will then drive more privacy and security needs. So it's kind of a revolving door there. So let's get into the meat of it for new developments. We're going to talk about 5 things, as I mentioned earlier: artificial intelligence, digital privacy and HIPAA, cookies, first-party data, and cybersecurity. And we're going to relate it all to marketing, and we're going to relate it all to healthcare marketing. Okay. So number 1, artificial intelligence and its impact on search, social, and advertising. So I just brought this slide up again. Generative AI, really steep adoption curve. So everybody's using it. If you have not used it, I encourage you just to play with it. ChatGPT, I think they're on 4.0 or 4.5 or 5.0 now. You could just see what it can do for you. Ask it a question, it'll respond in a matter of seconds, probably a few paragraphs of an answer. The one thing in this wide adoption is that you do need to validate it all. So it's a great tool, but it's not really to be used to write your marketing campaign. I would use it for an outline. I would use it for idea generating, and then I would take its concepts and its words and put it into my own brand voice. You can tell sometimes a lot of the emails that are coming from auto-generated from AI. They just don't sound like a regular person would be typing it or writing it. It doesn't sound like a brand would be saying those things about themselves. So there is something to be said about, taking the outputs of AI, which are everywhere now, and we'll go over some of these examples here, but to really use it as a guide, use it as a tool, but don't use it as a crutch. So this is from 2023 on the left, email marketing, where people are already leveraging AI. So 50% of the respondents were using it for content personalization. 47 email retargeting, subject line optimization, 47%. That's actually an interesting one there, because you could ask an AI, ChatGPT, you could feed it some subject lines of what you're thinking about, several, and you could ask its opinions. You could ask for it to expand on it. You could ask for more ideas. I think that's a really good one. But again, I would take it all and then make it your own. So it's being used quite widely in email marketing. It's also being used quite widely now in search engine results. So Google and Microsoft and everybody are showing an AI overview. So you can type, a question. ChatGPT has started to train us all on asking questions in the search box of ChatGPT. So Google and Bing and everybody are responding to say, all right, well, if more people start asking questions of the search engine, we should start showing answers to their questions. And Google and Bing and everybody have all of the data. They have AI tools. So this year they've introduced AI overviews, where you will get AI answers inside of Google search results, Bing search results, etc. It does disclose where it got the data from. So your website, for example, it could pull it from. The key here is that it is answering the question for the user. They don't need to go to another website to read their answer. They could go to your website or another website to look at more detail and data, but they don't have to get the basic answer. So that's a very important development for search engine optimization. Google is, kind of giving credit to the websites it's pulling the data from, but the difference here is that it's not necessarily encouraging you to click on those links the way that it used to, where that would be, they would give like a very short snippet of what information is on the website related to the search query, and then you would click to the landing page, and that would drive web traffic. Now they're keeping people on their own search results page, giving the answer through their AI chatbot, and they are referencing, websites to go to for more information. It's going to make a couple of things happen. It's going to make email marketing is going to become even more important, and we'll talk about that later as well. And then search engine marketing, where you may want to purchase some ads to show on the search results page, because you might not be getting as much traffic from search engine optimization, because Google is going to put their AI answer above your web listing. So just something to think about there as it relates to search engines and AI. The bottom right picture there, it's being AI is being used for A/B testing. So this is 1-800-Flowers testing 2 different landing pages and letting artificial intelligence kind of analyze all of the data that they're getting in from the usage of these 2 test landing pages, and letting AI data go ahead and determine a winner of the 2 landing pages. So it could be used and do a much faster analysis than if somebody, you had your data analyst to pull all the data out of the A/B test and compare and contrast. AI can do that much faster and is being used quite widely now for A/B testing. And then the bottom, the Coca-Cola picture there, marketers are also utilizing AI as asking their customers to submit different AI pictures, create different things with AI. So Coca-Cola ran a video campaign encouraging people to create their own AI generated Coca-Cola video ads. And so it was just an interesting way that the brand Coca-Cola is using AI in order to market itself. All of those are, just examples that we've seen. So I think I've talked about most of this already. I did want to mention LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is using AI now to augment social posts with additional relevant information and questions. So you could find that you post something for your for your practice as a provider, and LinkedIn may add something to it, and they're using artificial intelligence to kind of augment your post. And they're not asking you if they can do it. It's in test. It's in beta right now. It's actually being used by can't remember what they call their paid. There's a subscription that you can purchase, and they're utilizing it for those users right now, and kind of learning kind of what the impact is. But they're using their AI tools to comb through their data that they have, other websites that they have, to come up with additional information and even questions. And if you click on those questions, then it basically goes to other pages and other posts related to you. So that all can have an impact on kind of what you're messaging on LinkedIn. So be on the lookout for that. We talked about mass email campaigns there, and then AI is being used to create images, videos, and voiceovers. Double-edged sword there. It's so realistic, you can't tell the difference. So we're all counting on everybody, to be good ambassadors of AI. That's not going to happen all the time, but it really is important for us to only use this for good, and create voiceovers where it's gonna help your marketing and not meant to spread disinformation or make somebody think that it's the voice of somebody when it's not. So we all have to be responsible in its use. I found this quote, Bill Gates. It's becoming, whether you're an illustrator or a coder or a support person or somebody who is in the healthcare system, the ability to work well with AI and take advantage of it is now more important than understanding Excel or the internet. And that's quite a thing for Bill Gates to say, who created Excel, Microsoft, years and years and years ago. So AI is, I encourage everybody to use it, play with it, learn about it, learn what it can do, learn what it can't do, and use it responsibly, because it is here and it is already being used in all of our marketing. One thing where all this is headed, there have been several examples, early examples of Google, kind of having hallucinations, and that's what they call AI that kind of goes awry, gives a bad answer. And so this is being remedied every day now, but this was something that back in June and July was big. Google had to pull back on some of its answers in using AI, retrain its models, and now they're showing more of it. So again, this all happens very, very, very quickly, but they are re-rolling this all back out. But again, I would say use AI as a tool and not as a crutch. Moving on to digital privacy and HIPAA. This is probably one of the more important areas for digital marketers in healthcare to pay attention to. Lots of different changes that have been happening. I'm sure all of you are familiar with HIPAA and what is considered protected health information, PHI, and what is a covered entity. I'm not going to go over that in detail here, but I would encourage everybody to be familiar with whether you're covered entity or not, and the types of transactions that are covered. But the real big issue, and what I want to talk about today, is that these are all issues, class action lawsuits from the last 12 months in and around the use of private healthcare data. And so there have been a lot of data breaches and a lot of issues pertaining to this. And so we thought it would be important to make sure everybody's aware and aware of a lot of this happening in the industry. A lot of this was caused last year because CMS came out with some advice or a bulletin that said that even the non-authenticated pages of provider websites could be in violation of HIPAA because of the tracking technologies that are commonly used on a lot of these websites. And when I say tracking technologies, I'm going to just boil it down to Google Analytics and Facebook Pixel as just the two bigger concerns. Immediately, the industry took this to heart, and the American Hospital Association quickly filed a lawsuit. And in June of this year, a judge ruled in favor and said that the HHS online tracking bulletin was a reach beyond its authority. And then in August of this year, HHS announced that they would not appeal the ruling. So what happened there? Regulators and people at HHS just went a bit too far in trying to regulate unauthenticated websites, homepages, and put out these rules for how to avoid being HIPAA non-compliant on use of these tracking technologies, Google Analytics and Facebook Pixel. And basically that was a reach too far. It was not true. It was very hard to prove intent of a user that is visiting a homepage and whether they're what are they looking for. So they could not make a blanket statement like they made. So I would expect that another update bulletin from HHS will be coming to clarify yet again their rules. The bottom line, patient portals and other password protected sites are all going to be subject to HIPAA and the HHS bulletin notice, but non-authenticated pages no longer included in that definition, in that bulletin. And so this was the reason for a lot of these lawsuits last year. And so a lot of these have been since thrown out or not pursued any longer. But regardless of where HHS is taking that and with that lawsuit, the questions for marketers, does your website, your marketing analytics tool, other platforms, do they collect any data that merits additional protection from HIPAA? So that might be the name, the phone number, the email address, birth date, insurance, and medical information. Any of that stuff can be is personally identifiable and can be used to connect dots of, kind of, oh, they were on this landing page for a cancer treatment drug, and I know they were on this page, and I know what their email address is because it's data that was collected in Google Analytics, and now I've got a potential problem there. So you've got to make sure that none of that's going to be collected once they get to a landing page that's about a medical issue. HIPAA compliant tools cost money. So if you need to upgrade a tool to make it HIPAA compliant, you need to leverage that in your marketing strategy so that you could utilize the data once it's HIPAA compliant and utilize it in your marketing strategy to help offset its cost. And then you have to have business associate agreements, BAAs, with each company that you partner with that has a platform that could collect any information. And that BAA agreement indicates that they will treat that data as private as well, and that they are following HIPAA regulations as well. So, the other piece there, several states are continuing to pass more and more stringent privacy laws for 2025 and beyond. California is always the leader in privacy laws, and now many states are adopting, or at least within their state legislatures, are pursuing more stringent privacy laws similar to California law that's been in place for a couple of years now. And Google does recommend some things. Anything that, if you're subject to HIPAA, you may not use Google Analytics in a way that allows Google to collect any PHI. Google will not collect any PHI. And so you just have to make sure that you're only putting Google Analytics on those proper pages. And then please, these are very sticky issues. So please work with your legal team to identify any pages on your site that could be collecting any patient privacy data, and then make sure that you've got a HIPAA compliant solution. The next area we're going to look at is cookies. This is a chart showing the prevalence and use of web tracking cookies. Cookies are basically little teeny small pieces of computer code on your website that is picked up, that is seen by your browser, and your browser then stores that cookie and can remember things about it. And so, as you could tell from the up and to the right hockey stick curve, the use of cookies has been growing dramatically all through the 2000s, and then really accelerated in the 2010 to 2020 time period. So its use has dramatically increased. Again, small bits of computer code. The cookie crumb, as I call it, can be used by marketers of the website to track actions on the web after that website visit. There's a lot of things that a cookie can do. A cookie can help you keep logged into a website. It can keep your location saved. It can do a lot of other very helpful things. It can also be used to track and snoop on your online activities. It can be used to report back of what websites did you go to after you visited the website that logged your cookie. So it's been, kind of the creepy factor of online advertising and marketing, and you see that ad for tennis shoes after you've searched for it, or you clicked on an ad on social media, and then you see it, and you see it, and you see it. At least up until recently, that's been utilized. That's utilized a tracking cookie. But for years, everybody's wanted to get rid of cookies, and there are better ways to allow marketers to access data without tracking all of the user's individual actions online. But nobody's been able to really agree and find a valid replacement to enable that. So Apple and Safari, or I'm sorry, Apple, which is the Safari browser, and Firefox, which is another browser, a web browser, did restrict cookies on their own web browsers a few years ago. So they will not accept cookies. They will not allow marketers to drop the cookie on your computer, on your browser. Chrome, which is Google, and Edge, which is Microsoft, still do allow for cookies, but they do offer some individual settings and options, which most people actually do not do, but you can disable cookies if you wish. When you disable them, it does lead, you do lose some website functionality, like continuous login, like location settings. So when you clear your cookies and you clear your computer cache, oftentimes you might need to do that for various reasons. You'll notice that you have to log back into every website. It doesn't automatically know where you are. That's because it got rid of all of the cookies that were on your website or on your browser. So when you do disable it, it will eliminate. Now, Google has planned to cease using cookies. They had planned to stop it in 2024, this year. They began this process in 2020. But they've pushed that, they continue to push that date now into 2025. And it's been pushed for several reasons. They did start testing all of this in 2020, but had multiple issues. The largest is really multiple US and international privacy laws, and to make their cookieless tracking solution work globally has been a big challenge. They still need a replacement for tracking ad effectiveness for ROI calculations. So Google's not going to get rid of the cookie until they have a way to do that, because they make all their money on advertising, which uses targeted advertising. And so you utilize cookies and other technologies to track users to be able to target advertising to them. So they're not getting rid of anything until they find a replacement. Concerns about competitive advantages. So if Chrome comes up with a way that they may need to be spread to other browsers as well. So Google this year was brought up on, I guess, charges of being operating as a monopoly. So that's going to have an impact on their ability to develop this new cookie solution. And then more time is needed, lots of parties to test, lots of testing. Hopefully next year we'll have a replacement for the cookie. But when that does happen, every platform that you use, from Google search to YouTube to Facebook and Instagram, and even to MailChimp and others, there'll be some adjusting. All of those platforms will do the adjusting for you. I don't think you'll have to worry about a lot of that, but you will need to know that the way that things are going to be tracked will likely change over the course of time. First-party data. First-party data is becoming extremely important as the new digital gold, defined as customer data that you collect as a result of your direct relationship with that customer. Examples include email addresses that are captured on your website, any demographic data that you're capturing as part of a membership sign up on your website, basically anything that you're collecting yourself, and that the user, your customer is consenting to give you. So increasingly, the privacy laws or restrictions, and what we talked about, where cookies are going to go away, are all going to make this collection of first-party data much more important and valuable. A lot of the data that's being captured through a lot of the social media networks and the digital advertising networks is called third-party data. It is collected by somebody else, by another platform, and they are allowing you to access it through their platform. But that data is being restricted. Some of that data is going away. Facebook changed a lot of their targeting options back 2016, 2018, 2019. And so a lot of the targeting options aren't there any longer. So it's really, some of the data is not available to advertisers as it used to be. So capturing that data on your own is becoming more and more important. So I think we talked a little bit about first-party data examples: email addresses or phone numbers from your customers, products or services that your customers viewed on your company's websites. So you know what page that user was on, and so if they've looked at information about tennis shoes, then that's data that they did on your website, not on another platform. And you could create a field in your database called interests, and then you could say tennis shoes, and that would be first-party data that you've captured as a result of your customer being on your website. Products or services ordered from the website, the web pages on your website that the people visit, any login history that you are able to capture. So you could see that this person is always logging in the morning. Well, that's your data. They've done that they've logged in on your website or on your app. and you might be able to target market them with a message in the morning as opposed to in the afternoon. But that's first-party data that you would own that you've captured with their consent. Customer feedback surveys, reviews, feedback forms, anything that the customer gives you on those forms, and then data related to anything in interactions that you have with customers that are stored in your CRM, your customer relationship management platforms. All first-party data examples, all data that is much less privacy restricted. Your data, nobody can take it. Nobody's going to charge you for it. Nobody's going to take it away from you, and you're not relying on a third-party platform for that data about your customers. So you can use it to build customer profiles, personalize website and email content, create customer segments, and upload customer lists to digital marketing platforms. So lots of uses to go with that first-party data. Finally, we've come to cybersecurity. Again, I mentioned that not often is cybersecurity and marketing tied together, but it's increasingly becoming important, I think, for marketers to take precautions. So the Change Healthcare cyber attack that happened in, I think, February this year, subsidiary of United Health, it caused major disruptions, problems throughout the healthcare sector. A lot of providers are just getting the ability back recently now to put their claims through. It's just had a massive impact. And customer private data was leaked and stolen here. It came out months after the initial hack, but private customer data was leaked and stolen as a result of this hack. So what's a marketer to do? I read an interesting summary of the whole government. The Congress did a investigation into what happened to Change Healthcare. The issue seemed to be the lack of using multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is when you log into a website and then you get a code either emailed to you or a code texted to you on your phone, and then you have to pop the code in. That's multi-factor. United Healthcare was implementing, had purchased Change Healthcare. They were implementing a system that wasn't as, that didn't have the same level of multi-authentication as other United Healthcare platforms had. And that is what caused that's where they got in. That's where the bad people got in. So everything needs to be encrypted, all marketing databases, all systems. If you're merging or purchasing another company or a new platform, you got to do your due diligence on cybersecurity. You've just got to ensure that all systems that you're integrating, all systems that you're getting have the same level of multi-factor authentication and encryption as everything you have on your systems that you already have in place and already implemented. Ensure that your customer marketing databases and processes are HIPAA compliant and encrypted. You don't want anybody to be able to get in through a back door anywhere. If a cyber breach or data theft does happen, the marketing department is generally going to be called on to help public relations to create a very fast messaging to get the word out and to alleviate fears of your customers. And then be aware that these attacks often happen through phishing attacks. It could use your brand or logo. It could use your copy from marketing. And it's often very difficult to detect some of these things. So the more that your employees are educated on if it looks fishy, report it. Don't click on something if you don't recognize where it came from. Look at an email, do a little bit of critical evaluation before you click on an email, click on a link within an email, and just to make sure it passes your initial smell test. So just take an extra second there, try to protect your organization from potential impacts. And when you're writing, when you as the marketer are writing these marketing messages and you're coming up with an email campaign, just keep in mind that often this is the way in, an email phishing attack. And the way that you craft your messaging, it should be in your regular, normal brand voice. It should sound and feel like other emails that your customers have engaged with. So you don't want anybody to falsely think that your email that you send out that for your marketing purposes could be considered a possible phishing attack. So make sure that you just be aware that people are becoming very crafty. The bad guys are becoming crafty on kind of what they're doing. So we have to be crafty on the good side as well to make sure that we're battling all of this. I went through an absolute ton of information in 51 minutes. So I'd love to open it up for any questions that you guys might have. Corey, if you want to read any of the questions that anybody has, I'd be happy to go.
I'll get us started and remind everybody now's the time. You can submit questions in the question box on the right-hand side of your screen. Rob, you mentioned the value of first-party data. Do you have any advice on how our attendees can collect more of that?
Yeah, the one thing that stuck out from that slide, I think, was customer surveys. So you could get a lot of great, a lot of people survey, customers on customer satisfaction. But you can survey your customers on lots of different things. Ideas on, how they want to be marketed to. How do they, what are their main concerns when it comes to X? So I think capturing a lot of that data, you can capture a lot of information from a survey. You can also capture a lot of information, using a form to if you've got information on, I don't know, maybe there's a video that you've put together, in your practice area, and you want to offer this out to, possible new patients, new constituents, new potential customers. You could offer that video and just ask for some information. So email address, name, practice name, occupational specialty. It could go for, you can capture a lot of information, and people will give you information in exchange for something. So surveys and marketing forms to generate, to get additional information and data about your customers, I think are very, very good ways to get additional data.
Okay, great. Rob, thank you. Next question, since AI results are showing up in volume on Google searches, what's the impact for provider organizations SEO?
Yeah, so for SEO, it fluctuates so much right now. As I mentioned earlier, they started rolling out AI results in search and search engine pages in the May to June timeframe. They were testing it in January, and they started rolling it out in May or June, and they pulled back quite dramatically, pretty quickly. A lot of pushback. I am seeing it pop up more and more, but I have heard that they're going to do less and less of that for health-related search queries. I haven't seen any empirical studies on that yet, so I'm not really sure. But the general answer is it has the ability to push down the link to your website that Google has ranked over the years in the search engine, and it will push down that link below, so that a searcher would have to scroll down the search results page to find that link. That's what that module does. It basically sits, at the top of the page, and it gives you a 3-paragraph answer in natural language, just like it was talking to you. And it's going to be 3 paragraphs long, or however long it is. That naturally just pushes your result down. Now, if they've pulled information, if your data was used in pulling the AI answer, they will reference your website in that answer. But it's still not the same as just giving you that link. So it will impact your search engine optimization. It won't impact your rankings. You're still ranked #1 in that case. If you ranked #1 before, as long as they don't change the algorithm for ranking, you're going to rank #1. It's just that your result is lower on the page, which may mean that you might need to do some more email marketing as opposed to search engine marketing. So there's a lot of things. It'll really depend on how widespread this rolls out once it does roll out, but it's all good things to think about. What's my next move if Google decides to show more AI results and I get less traffic from Google? What am I going to do? I might need to track more people on email. I might need to track more people on social media. I might need to do referral campaigns and referral programs to get people to recommend people to come to me as opposed to finding them via the search engine.
Okay. Well, we got about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to give you one last question, and I believe this was going to be a big one. How do marketing professionals and marketing departments, build the C-suite coalition they're going to need to make any of this stuff work? How do they wrangle everybody from the CIO to the CFO to the CEO to ensure that, cybersecurity and marketing are all taken care of as part of the strategic plan? And this could be a budgeting question. This could be a teamwork question.
Well, I think you could tie them all together, all 5 of those pieces together to build that C-suite coalition, and you tie it to dollars. And so if the question's about cyber, right? Well, what happened to change? What happened to the whole industry because, there was an attack on one company, massive ripple effect, lost productivity. So there's dollars there. If it's AI, it could be increased productivity. It could be, hey, we could use AI to offset this. We could use AI to capture all of these patient notes and allow, the clinicians more time, actually working with patients as opposed to writing up notes. So I think that getting them to the data points that will lead to the dollars and the cents, whether increase revenue or reduce costs. That's how to build the C-suite coalition.
Well, I want to wish everybody good luck with that. Rob, I want to thank you for joining us today, and I want to thank everybody who tuned in. And I want to remind everybody that the slides and the recordings for this will be made available on the Open Minds website starting tomorrow for Open Minds members. And we invite you to join us next week, Thursday, October 24th at 1 p.m. Eastern for You've Been Hacked, Now What?, which is the follow-up to today's piece. I got my Change Healthcare letter in the mail today, so this is pretty important stuff. And if you want to register for that event or for a full list of upcoming roundtables, you can visit our Executive Roundtables page under the Event Education tab located at www.openminds.com. Rob, thank you very much, and I hope you and everybody here has a great weekend.
Thank you.